States just carried out military strikes that killed 11 members of the Venezuelan group Tren de Aragua. We're going to dive into what we know so far, how we got here, and then what to watch for going forward. Starting out, this is strike footage released by the White House showing the kinetic strike that did eliminate those 11 terrorists. President Trump released a statement saying, quote, "Earlier this morning, on my orders, U.S. military forces conducted a kinetic strike against positively identified Tren de Aragua narco-terrorists in the Southcom area of responsibility. TDA is a designated foreign terrorist organization operating under the control of Nicolas Maduro," that's the president of Venezuela, "responsible for mass murder, drug trafficking, sex trafficking, and acts of violence and terror across the United States and Western Hemisphere. The strike occurred while the terrorists were at sea in international waters, transporting illegal narcotics heading to the United States. The strike resulted in 11 terrorists killed in action. No U.S. forces were harmed in this strike. Please let this serve as a notice to anybody even thinking about bringing drugs into the United States of America. Beware." And that actually hints at what the Trump administration might be trying to get at specifically around this use of military force. Now, President Trump in a press conference just a few hours ago hinted that this took place, saying, "We just blew a drug boat out of the water and there's more to come." Let's give that a listen.
When you come out and when you leave the room, you'll see that we just, over the last few minutes, literally shot out a boat, a drug-carrying boat, a lot of drugs in that boat. And you'll be seeing that and you'll be reading about that. It just happened moments ago, and our great general, head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who's been so incredible, including what took place in Iran, knocking out potential nuclear power for a long time to come. I think within a month they would have had it if we didn't do what we did. But he gave us a little bit of a briefing, and you'll see. And there's more where that came from. We have a lot of drugs pouring into our country, coming in for a long time. And we just, these came out of Venezuela and coming out very heavily from Venezuela. A lot of things are coming out of Venezuela. So we took it out, and you'll get to see that after this meeting is over.
Now, it's worth mentioning how we got here, and I think the best way to describe this is slowly then all at once. I mean, there has been a lot of tension between the United States and Venezuela, especially under the Maduro regime, but recently, in the last couple of weeks, we've seen a noticeable uptick in this activity. The U.S. Department of Justice a couple weeks ago increased the reward for any information leading to the arrest of Nicolas Maduro to $50 million. This is the president of Venezuela. And earlier today, I saw, not sure if this is new or not, but another bounty or reward issued for the Venezuelan Minister of Defense, Pedrino Lopez, at $15 million. Now, a lot of the...
First and foremost, before we get started, I'd like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rekah Quadash, and double honors to those great millstone, while unto his truth, and also to those elect that is scattered abroad. I like to say, Shalom. Come back here today with another great and powerful lesson through the spirit and the power of Yahweh by Shema Shai. And the title of today's lesson is Tension Rising. U.S. military strike Venezuelan drug boat in the Caribbean. So I like to say Shalom to all our listeners and learners. Hope to sweep you today and guide you back in the path of righteousness and back to your true power, which you find is Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. So in the opening video, that was by Preston Stevenson. He put out good reports, so you get around to it, look it up. There's more meat on there. I think it lasts about 10 or 12 minutes, but you can go back and look at it. I think his name is Preston Stevenson. He's on YouTube. But anyway, back on what we're saying is here right now, we're seeing that the U.S. Military has struck a Venezuelan drug boat. You know what I'm saying? Said it was carrying drugs. So right here now, we seeing that America now is at war with Venezuela. And also we knowing that Venezuela is allies with China and Russia. So we're seeing how this picture is constantly lining up. So a lot of people right now still, are not paying attention. This is happening right here in our own backyard. If you're not concerned, if you're still are going on, just thinking everything is going to be normal, that everything is going to be all right. No, it's not. This is getting ready to escalate into something bigger, you know what I'm saying, which in fact is World War III. And we already know what things are picking up in the Middle East, also between Iran and Israel, just like the Bible said. The Lord is constantly moving the chess pieces around. So we seeing right now that DJ Donald Trump, all of a sudden he has unalived 11 peoples, so we already know that it's going to be some type of retaliation. We're not going to get this report here. I just want to read the title once again. This here by PBS News Hour. It says here, U.S. military strike Venezuela drug boat in Caribbean. It said unaliving 11. So right here, it's the beginning of it, so you already have warships down there. They have all sorts of military like drones and different military surveillance things that they got. They got these the Marines ready to go, but we already know that this. We already know if they touch the ground, it's gonna be a great slaughter. So we already know right now that we ought to be preparing, and the only way you will be prepared is through who? Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. The Lord is the only one that's going to be able to protect you in these times of trouble. So this man right now is over here in someone else's business over here in Venezuela, saying it's for, they bringing drugs into America, talking about the drug cartel. You already know how the devil, how he gets down, so that's what we ask the Lord, disappoint him, oh Lord, which is thy sword, the wicked, the so-called white man. We already know that this devil is getting ready to come down with great wrath. So let's get a quick precept. So we seeing these things are constantly picking up. Also, they had that bounty on President Maduro. I think it was 50 million. Then I think some of his cabinet, I think it was a little bit lower than that. But we seeing right now that this man, DJ Donald Trump, we thinking that this is the cruel law. He's gonna bring forth the end of America. So we seeing it right now happening right before our eyes. All our allies that was at peace with us, they're getting ready to come up against America. We seeing everyone is preparing for war against NATO and also the West, which in fact is America. So we seeing these things are constantly lining up. Bible prophecy is speaking loud and clear. So now let's get this quick precept. I got some more video. We're gonna bring a very quick lesson through the Spirit, just something I'm seeing through the Spirit, because these things are constantly picking up. Let's go here to Proverbs chapter. Quick lesson, just random scriptures, and the problem, you see something, say something, because we're here, man. Let's see here. It says. Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 3 says, a prudent man foresees the evil and hides himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. So prudent goes into a wise man. Who is wise? He's talking about what the true believers of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, starting with what the prophets and also that great multitude that that believe on Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, and added by that we foreseeing the evil. What we seeing, what World War III, we seeing this great economic collapse. We seeing that what America is slowly circling the drain. Also, we seeing what Jacob trouble is coming upon us at a fast pace. Even though it would sound like a broken record, but these are the times that we're living in. We foresee as the evil. We hide as ourselves. How do we hide ourselves? What? In this wisdom, this knowledge, this gospel that shall sustain us in times of trouble. The Lord shall be that stronghold. The Lord's name. The name of the Lord shall be that strong tower. And the righteous run into it and is safe. And also the simple pass on and are punished. It's talking about the 2/3, that rebellious house, the one not paying no type of not even looking, not even considering, the signs of the time. Don't know who they are, don't know who their true power is, don't know what time that we're living in. We read upon war. War has begun. It's right here in our own backyard. Also, we already know that they have these sleeper cells in place. We goes over these things left and right, cause hey, when the Lord bring it, there is not going to be any more talking. It's going to be like a domino effect, one thing behind another. Billions of people are getting ready to be unalive, and a lot of our people still are what? Playing games. A lot of our people still are laughing and having a great old time, like the days of Noah. But not by water this time, but by fire. IBCM missing also that blazing chair fire that's coming from Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. Let's read this once again. It said Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 3 said, a prudent man foresees the evil and hides himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. So right here, a lot of people right now very simple minded, believe in everything, every word. And one thing about this man is speaking sweetly with his lip, but war is in his heart. So that's what we're seeing right now. These nations are constantly rising against nations. Rumors of wars are all over the place. So now let's get the rest of the video. We'll get about 1 or 2 more precepts, then we'll close out. So let's start today's video, and after the video we'll start the lesson, and I hope that you will get edified. So let's go here. Let's find which one I'm looking for here. Let's go to this one here.
Tonight, the White House releasing this dramatic video of the U.S. blowing up a boat in the southern Caribbean. President Trump says it was carrying drugs from Venezuela and that the strike killed 11 members of the notorious gang Tren de Aragua, or TDA.
We have a lot of drugs pouring into our country, coming in for a long time. And these came out of Venezuela. We took it out.
Last month, the Pentagon deployed 3 guided missile destroyers to international waters near Venezuela after President Trump designated several drug cartels, as well as TDA, foreign terrorist organizations. The U.S. did pull off a large-scale prisoner swap with Venezuela this summer. Now tensions with Venezuelan leader Nicolás Maduro are rapidly escalating.
The Maduro regime is not the legitimate government of Venezuela. It is a narco-terror cartel.
Tonight, the president saying no U.S. forces were hurt in the strike. Maduro has claimed that the U.S. military buildup in the Caribbean is aimed at overthrowing his government, and he's deployed troops along his borders. Tonight, a senior White House official is downplaying any possibility of the U.S. invading Venezuela, but says the president will use any means necessary to tackle drug cartels. Tom.
All right, Gabe Gutierrez leading us off with that new video tonight.
So we're seeing right there, I just, played it once again. It was a little bit more meat on that, but we're seeing right now that, tensions is rising. So right now, they're saying that they have they're saying they have no plans of going into Venezuela, invading Venezuela, because they already know once that happened, we already know that China and Russia are going to get involved. So we already know that. I think Venezuela, if I'm not mistaken, they have the #1 largest supply of oil. Down in Venezuela. So you already know this Red Devil, he's not a keeper at home. But, that's what we constantly seeing right here. This man is, is constantly, going down there starting shit with everyone. But one thing about it, it's about to be over. This man is at his last end. Let's go here to Matthew chapter 24, straight to the point, and verse 6. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of war. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So it's right now, these things must come to pass, but we're seeing right now we're in the birth pain. We're seeing we're in that transition of power. We're seeing that tensions is rising left and right, but these things got to come before the end. So we already know that we're getting very close to that implementation of the RFD microchip, which in fact is the mark of the beast. And also we knowing that, things are getting ready to get nuclear very soon. So we are very close. Let's read this once again. It said, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of war. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So the end is not yet, but we are very close to the end, but, just a few more prophecies, to fulfill, the end of all things are at hand. We're in the transition of power. We're in we coming to an end of an eon, the end of this temporal world. We're seeing it right now. Verse 7, it said, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. So we already know what happened in Afghanistan today, that 6.1. Also, we constantly been having earthquakes pretty much every day. Every day is something that's going down. So all these things are constantly picking up. There's already warnings about earthquakes in the Northwest, also the West Coast, East Coast, pretty much all over. It's diverse, just like the Bible said. Pestilence, plagues are constantly on the increase. That's what we're constantly seeing left and right. Verse 8, it said, all these are the beginning of sorrow. So we at the beginning of sorrow, the birth pain. Things going to constantly pick up. They're going to get greater and greater, to the Lord, great and glorious return. So we got to go through this great tribulation period to get to the kingdom of heaven that dwells in righteousness. So we're seeing that we are very close. These things are picking up left and right. Let's go to this one. This Let's get this last one. We'll close out. A little bit sleepy, a little bit under the weather, but hey, man, we constantly see something, say something. You know what I'm saying? The Lord said, keep not silent. Warn them for me. So let's get this one right here. We're going to go straight to the point with this one too. Habakkuk chapter 2 and Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 5. Let's go here. It say, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man. Said, neither keeper at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. So right here, he's a very proud man. You know what I'm saying? We see right now, this man right here, he got a God complex. You know, cannot tell him anything. You know what I'm saying? But the Lord's getting ready to bring him down very soon. He's not a keeper at home. So he's over in this man country right now. You know, he's over in the Middle East. He's everywhere. You know, he's always trying to, you know, set up what his, he transgresses by wine, by way his democracy, by his policies, you know, by his philosophy. You know what I'm saying? And one thing about it, you know, he always try to take out their leader. You already got a $50 million bounty on this man's head. Take him out, and then they'll replace him with someone that can do the bidding for them. You know what I'm saying? Come in there and rob you of your resource, kill your, unalive your leader, rob you all your resources, and leave the land desolate. You know, death and hell follow this man everywhere he go. You know, he's the harbinger of the death, the so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of. And out of the Bible, you know, and also he heaps to himself all people. So we already know we had very close to him, you know, trying to set up this new world order. So these things are very close at hand. Also, we know that China had that summit over there in I think it was in China. You know, had a summit meeting, you know, with Russia and different other surrounding countries, and also we know that America was not invited. So we already know that they're forming alliance left and right before their eyes. So let's read this once again. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 5. It say, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, you know, his doctrine, his philosophy, you know, he's talking about his democracy, you know what I'm saying, his, you know, he helped major influence around the world, you know, set up his puppet leaders, and also he would drain you of your resource, your oil, gold, you know what I'm saying, your money, your women, whatever, you know, he could take it all. This man right, he don't, you know, he's got to be stopped. He said, he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, Esau Edom. Said, never keep at home, who enlarges himself, enlarges his desire as hell and as death. You know, everywhere you go, death and hell follow this man, and cannot be satisfied, but gather to him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. So that's exactly what this man is trying to do everywhere he go. You know, death and hell follow him, just like you see what happened with those 11 people was unalive, saying, you know, that it was possible that, you know, it was a whole lot of, you know what I'm saying, drugs on these on this boat. So we see it right here. It's for to fight the cartel and also the drugs and other things that this man is coming up with. Just like when he went into Iraq, you know. So hey, we're not ignorant of Satan's device. So let's go to this one here. We're seeing that these allies, you know, they're coming together, you know, against America. You know, as we see in the left and right, these things are lining up. You know, so they're constantly making enemies left and right. But the Lord is calling these things to happen. Let's get this one right quick. We'll get one more. It says, Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 7 says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. Said, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there is none understanding in him. So at some point, these one that was at peace with him or was allies with America, they're going to turn against America. You know what I'm saying? Because thou hast spoiled many nations, you are going to be spoiled. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's getting ready to happen left and right. So they're down there in Venezuela. So we're seeing that tension is constantly rising right down here in the Caribbean, man, right in our backyard. So while we're sleeping, you know, the devil's constantly getting busy. You can wake up, you know what I'm saying? It'd be like a war zone. So that's why we got to, you know, constantly, you know, redeem the time wisely. While we living in some evil time. And one thing about it, we got to be circumspect at any given day. You know, these things can come upon us, you know, at a fast pace. All right, let's get this last one here. Let's go here to Ecclesiasticus. So Rock, we'll close out here. Ecclesiastes, Sirach chapter 5 and verse 7, straight to the point. It says here, make no tarry to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day. For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. So right now, don't delay, putting off from day to day. It's time to repent. It's time to seek the Lord, cause the day of the Lord will suddenly come upon you. The Lord will, bring forth his wrath upon you. A lot of people right in their security, when they saying peace and security, or peace and safety, you know what I'm saying? Then he's saying, then thou shalt be destroyed suddenly, you know what I'm saying? You will perish in the day of what? Of vengeance, So let's read this once again. It said, make no tarry to turn to the Lord, do not delay. It said, put not off from day to day. You know what I'm saying? Hey, stop put things aside. I'm gonna do this today. I'm gonna wait till tomorrow. Because we are running out of time. For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. So this is where we at right now. Any given day, all of a sudden, all hell could break loose. And we're seeing right now that, tensions are rising, things are escalating. We're seeing that right now, these nations are standing up against America. America's steady trying to get that stronghold what they once had. Help you become weak as we when you go to Isaiah chapter 14. So these nations are getting ready to what? To burn the whore. Bible prophecy is speaking loud and clear. Our salvation is at the door, and also the great and glorious return of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. It is fast approaching. So the title of the day lesson, once again, is tensions rising. U.S. military strike Venezuela drug boat in the Caribbean. So I'd like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua Ba'ashim Rikah Kwadash. I like to say, Shalom. Shalom.